Hi everyone, it's Don from Don's Family Vacation, and this week I have a requested video from someone. They know that I'm a single person and I travel often alone. So they asked me for some tips about solo travel. So that's what we're going to do. I'm going to give you 20 tips for solo traveling right after this. Number one would be travel insurance. This goes for whether you're a solo traveler or not, but especially if you're a solo traveler because you have no backup. You have no one around you while you're in these locations. So make sure you have at least medical insurance wherever you travel, whether you're backpacking or staying at luxury resorts. Better safe than sorry. $100 worth of insurance can save you $50,000 worth of medical bills when you're traveling to a foreign country. So, number one, travel insurance, whether you're solo or family or a couple, doesn't matter, travel insurance. Number two, pack light. You may be going for 30 days because you're going to be busing between different cities or taking trains through Europe or wherever you're going. But the more suitcases you carry, first of all, you're going to be very encumbered. Second of all, you're going to stand out more as a tourist than somebody traveling with a smaller suitcase and maybe a backpack or an over-the-shoulder pouch. While we're on that matter, I would stick with having a backpack more than something hanging over your shoulder. Because if you're doing a lot of walking and a lot of traveling for a long period of time, your shoulders are going to get very, very sore, where the backpack will distribute the weight a lot easier. Just be safe. Just beware that when you're traveling in areas, a favorite thing for people to do is come up behind a backpack or something with a knife and slash it to grab some documents. So don't keep anything in the outer pockets that are too valuable, like your wallet or your purse or cash or anything like that. Try and keep them deep within the backpack with you. Number three, make sure that you're booking places that are solo friendly. As you know, if you're going on a cruise, they count each stateroom as two people. So if it says $2,000 per person, well, if you're going by yourself, that's $4,000. But there are cruise lines like Norwegian that has studio accommodations for single travelers, and they cost about 55% of what it would cost if you were two people. So a little bit more than a single, one person's view, but still you save thousands of dollars on a room. The difference between an inside stateroom and a solo travel stateroom is easily $1,000 to $1,500 if you're traveling, comparing two people to one people. So make sure you're even looking for hotels, because some hotels are based on double occupancy, and they will charge you as if you're two people, even if you're only one, and that really goes for anything that's all-inclusive. So book your accommodations as if you're a single person and look for making sure that there's no extra charges for being alone. Number four, something you have to be aware of, even if you're in a group of people. Look like you belong where you're at. Don't stand around with a map of the city like this, looking around as if you're completely lost, because you're just putting up a big red flag over your head saying, look, I'm new to the area, rob me, take advantage of me. So no matter where you are, if you need to look at a map or something, duck into a cafe off the street where most people are going to watch you. So look and feel confident and look like you belong in the area, that you've been there 1,000 times, or you live in the area for that matter. So confidence is key when traveling solo. While we're on that subject, number five, stay low key. Don't take your wallet out and flash $100 US bills in your wallet. Don't wear a lot of jewelry and big diamond rings. Those are things that you should leave behind when you're traveling, because they stick out like a sore thumb. That's a new one. A sore thumb for all the people out there who are looking to take advantage and rob you. and they're looking for tourists, and they're looking for you because guess what? If they rob you, you go back to your country, and basically the police say, well, that person's gone, and they forget about it. So there's a lot less investigation into robbing of tourists than there is to somebody who's local who can keep pressing the police to look into it. So don't flash around lots of money, and don't flash around your jewelry. Number 6 is what I like to do is I like to study the area I'm going to before I arrive. So I have a rough idea where things are and what I want to do. That way I don't look like a lost person when I'm going. I have a rough idea that if I'm staying at this hotel, and I looked earlier in Paris, I know that the Eiffel Tower is 4 blocks this way, or I know that the museum I want to visit is 6 blocks that way. So I know roughly where I'm going. You don't have to be an expert, but it's good to have a rough idea. That way you're not getting ripped off by taxis. If you happen to ask somebody for directions and they point you in a completely weird area, you'll know that something's up. So get a lay of the land before you arrive. Number 7, if you're able and it's close enough, walk to where you're going instead of taking public transit ways or buses or things like that. Most local people will keep an eye on bus stations and things like that if they're looking to do any kind of, bad things with you, where if you're walking down the street and you look like you're just an everyday person just walking around the streets of the city, no one's really going to pay you much mind. So keep that in mind as well, especially tour guides and if you go on, if you're in London, you take a double-decker bus tour around the city and you're sitting outside waiting to take the bus. Well, people are seeing that you're standing there waiting to take a tour bus. They know you're a tourist. Where if you walked around to the different locations, you just look like somebody who lives in the city. So keep that in mind. If you're able and if you can, go ahead and walk. You'll actually be safer than when you're not. Number 8, especially for solo travelers, especially for women, drink responsibly. Don't get drunk to the point where you're not sure of what's in your surroundings. Watch your drinks in bars, that somebody isn't trying to drop something into them, because if anyone sees that you're a single person by themselves, they know you don't have anybody to look after you if you get drunk or if they drug you, and you're a lot more vulnerable. So be very, very careful of drinking too much when you're a solo traveler. A lot of things can go wrong if you're drunk. Number 9, beware of that very friendly, complete stranger who's a local person who says, hey, oh, you're going out to there? Oh, hey, tell you what, tomorrow morning I'll meet you out front and I'll drive you there. How's that? Or, hey, let's hang out and have dinner tonight. And, or, why don't I show you around the city? We'll go out for drinks afterwards. You can be friendly with people, but be very, very aware that you're in a strange city and you're by yourself. So that being said, I would never accept a ride from a total stranger, period, male or female. Going out with somebody to dinner is completely different than going out with drinks in a nightclub. As I said before, you have to keep an eye on your drink. You have to make sure you're not drinking too much. If you go out to dinner, make sure it's a very public restaurant, not some out-of-the-way little dingy bar someplace with bar food. Make sure it's a good restaurant. And I would not let that person, if at all possible, know what hotel you were at. In fact, I would call a taxi, tell the taxi driver that I'm heading to this hotel, and then once we pull away, tell them, no, I'm actually going to this hotel. That way, the person who overheard you doesn't know what hotel you're staying at and can't follow you or track your movements. Number 10, taking pictures. If you're going for a long period of time and you do a lot of walking, it's much better to have a good small camera than it is to have a big clunky camera like the ones I travel with a lot because I need to do videos and things like that. I have like 17 lenses for my camera. So, if I'm carrying my camera around, it's to do shooting. It's not to enjoy my vacation. So when I actually do travel and I'm just enjoying myself, I take a little point and shoot camera, but I try and get a good quality one so I can have some zoom and the sound is pretty good if I want to do some videos, and it's better in low light for taking pictures where I don't have to use a flash. So a higher quality, smaller camera is better than big cameras or a very cheap camera, especially if you're going to be taking pictures at night. Number 11, even if you're a single person, you have friends, you have people at home, your family, keep in touch with them. Let them know where you're going to next, let them know where you are now, and when you arrive at that destination, let them know you've gotten there. Because if all of a sudden you're just traveling and something happens to you along the way and you haven't let anyone know where you are, they're going to have a hard time finding you if you're between destinations or you decided to go to a place that they don't know you were going to. So always keep in touch. Whenever you arrive at a new destination, let them know you got there. Let them know how long you're going to be there. If you have a change of plans, let them know as well. And make sure that they've received the message. So don't just send a random email and think it's gone through, because sometimes in foreign countries, it takes a long, sometimes 2 or 3 days for an email to go through. It somehow gets lost in the web. So just be very careful of that. Keep in contact with somebody at home and let them know where you are and what you're planning to do. Number 12, I know I told you to walk is a good thing instead of taking transit ways and stuff to blend in. If you're walking at night, say you're visiting Paris, and Paris is called the City of Lights for a reason. It's spectacular at night, seeing the Eiffel Tower lit up and things like that. But if you're walking and you decide to walk back to your hotel room or you're walking to a restaurant, try and stick to very well lit public streets. Don't take a shortcut through a dimly lit park. Don't take a shortcut through an alleyway, because you never know what might be lurking in those areas. Be safe. Stick to high traffic, well lit areas at night. Number 13 is what I like to do if I'm staying at a place that I'm not sure of. If you're booking overseas and you're booking at hotels, quite often you've never been to these places. And if you're like me, you're not staying at 5-star resorts. You're looking for a bit of a deal sometimes, or something close to what you're doing on your trip and things that you want to do. So if I see a hotel, what I like to do is go on Google Earth, type in the address, and go to Google Street Level if it's there, and see what the hotel looks like or the accommodation looks like and what the street looks like. The hotel can be very nice, but it can be in a very sketchy area that you might not want to stay at if it's, a very low run area. Even if it's a 3.5, 4-star hotel, you just might not feel safe in that area. So keep that in mind. Do a little research, go to Google Street and take a look at the area you're staying at. If it looks okay, then chances are it's going to be fine. 14, when you're arriving at a place by yourself that you've never been, arrive during the day. Don't arrive at night, because things look totally different at night than they do during the day when you're trying to get your bearings and you're trying to, okay, there's a landmark, I want to remember that bridge, or I want to remember that statue on my way. And taxi drivers can take long detours to get you where you're going at night to your hotel, and you'll never know it because there's no landmarks around, or it's not bright enough to see street signs, things like that. So whenever possible at all, always arrive at a new destination during the day. Number 15, if this is your first time ever traveling by yourself, until you get used to traveling alone, travel in high tourist areas. Go see the Eiffel Tower. Go see the ruins in Mexico. Stay at a very well-known hotel. Things like that. Until you get used to traveling alone, you'll feel much more comfortable after 1 or 2 trips by yourself to do more of an exploration type vacation. So if it's your very first 1 or 2 times traveling by yourself, I would say stick to the high tourist areas, get them out of the way, and then you can explore as you're more familiar with traveling by yourself. Number 16, don't rely on one card for your money and your cash. Don't just bring a debit card, or don't just bring one credit card, because as much as you sometimes let your banks know that you're traveling, they'll still sometimes put a freeze on your account. And if you're in the middle of nowhere and you're about to take a taxi back to your hotel that's an hour away, or a tour bus back to anywhere, or a boat, and all of a sudden your credit card doesn't work, what are you going to do if you don't have enough money to pay cash while you're at that destination? And we know we don't like to carry a lot of cash with us on vacation. So have more than one card available. I like to travel with 2 debit cards and 2 credit cards. That way I know for sure that at least one of them is going to get me out of a situation if the other card doesn't work. Number 17, I can't stress this one enough. I don't know how many times I've done it. Trust your instincts. If something seems a little off, chances are it is. If you're in a club and people seem to be over friendly with you, or a guy seems to be over friendly with you, or a girl, and you say, this is kind of weird, this is kind of odd, I'm a 55-year-old guy traveling by myself, why is this young 20-year-old paying so much attention to me? If it seems off, it probably is, and just get out, leave. Call a taxi, stay in a public area, and just disappear. That way, even if there was nothing up, at least you trusted your instincts and you didn't get yourself into trouble by not trusting them. Number 18, this goes for everybody. If you're going into your hotel and you're arriving back from a big day out touring these cities and destinations and you're heading back to your hotel room, look around. When you're walking down the hall, keep an eye out for people following you or people watching you anywhere when you're going to your hotel room, especially if they're following like 3 or 4 doors back. If I see somebody following me that closely, I'll stop, turn around, and head back the way I came as if I forgot something to see if they continue down or not, or if they kind of watch me as I go by. Because a lot of places, there are places out there that people will follow you until you start opening your door. Now your key is out, your key is in the door, they know they can get in, they rush you from behind, push you into the hotel room, knock you out, rob you, steal all your stuff, disappear, or even worse things. So keep an eye out before you open your door. Make sure that there's no one really, really close by and that you don't seem to be being followed of any kind. I don't like to make these videos all sound like this is all watch out, but it's a lot more things to be aware of when you're by yourself than if you're in a group or a family or even a couple, because there's always safety in numbers, and when you're by yourself, more things can happen. So again, be aware of your surroundings is probably the number one thing out there, I can tell you. Number 19, speaking of hotel rooms, if it's like 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock at night, and somebody bangs on your door and they say they're a member of the staff of the hotel, whether they say they're concierge, they say they're security, anything. While you're looking through the keyhole, ask them to show you some ID. Every hotel personnel will have some kind of ID, especially security. So if they can't produce that, I would be on that phone calling down to the front desk saying there's a problem right away. And yeah, just a random knock on your door, especially in the evening, and you're a solo traveler, I never open that door unless I know exactly who it is coming in. Number 20, and this is a big one because it's not the same everywhere you travel. A lot of people, especially here in North America, we think 911 is the number to call no matter what, if anything happens. And there are places in this world where 999 is the number to call. There are places in this world that it's 222 to call. So find out wherever you're staying. You can find out easily at the hotel. You can just call an operator wherever you are and ask them what the emergency numbers are. If they don't have a 911 service where you are, then ask for the local ambulance or the local police, especially the police, because the police can contact emergency services for you if you call them, where if you call an ambulance, sometimes they're less responsive to call police, where if you call the police, they know all the other emergency numbers right away. So always know what emergency number to call in case something ever happens anywhere. You could get run over by a bicycle, you could be hit and run, you could trip down some stairs, anything, know the number to call. So there you go. There's 20 tips for solo travelers, which also can go for couples and families as well, but really important when you're a solo traveler. You have to look confident, you have to look like you belong where you are, and you have to be aware of your surroundings at all times. Those are the 3 keys to watch out and keep in mind whenever you're traveling by yourself. So I hope you liked this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. And if you'd like to see more videos and more tips and more destinations around the world, please hit the subscribe button. I'm got a couple surgeries to go through, as some of you know, and then I'm back on the road again. I've been looking at a Caribbean cruise for November, December, or January, depending on my recovery time. So I've been searching them out. I think I'm going to go on the Norwegian Getaway, might be my next one. I've already booked my Alaskan cruise for next summer, and I'm hoping to head to Japan near the end of the year for my bucket list travel. So if you want to see those videos and you want to see a lot more, like I said, hit that subscribe button. Until next time, please be very safe out there and have yourself a great vacation.